It's the Powerhouse Woman Show. You're a powerhouse woman, successful, accomplished, but you know the time has come for something else. To pivot, make a shift, or do what you've been putting off for a long time. I'm Monica Pierre, a media entrepreneur, Emmy Award-winning journalist and coach, and I'm on a mission to help you figure out your path forward and create powerful new stories about your life and legacy. There's more ahead. Time to do the greatest work of your life. Hello, once again. Welcome to the Powerhouse Woman Show. We hear the word leadership quite a bit, right? We hear that word and we pretty much know what it means. At least we think we know what it means. But oftentimes, it also evolves. So today we're going to talk about leadership, particularly for powerhouse women. What's expected of leaders, and how do you not only develop and acknowledge, but embrace the leader you are? We are joined by Amy. Hi there, Amy Landry. She is Loyola University's Women's Leadership Academy Program Director. She knows a lot about leadership and even development of leadership. First of all, Amy, thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I am honored to be here.
Oh, great. I know you have a lot to say when it comes to leadership, but if you could just take a minute or two and let us know the backstory of you and leadership. Were you always the one like she's the leader, or did you raise your hand, or did people kind of tap you on the shoulder and you started to develop your leadership skills?
Interesting. My leadership journey really came. It's a unique story. I think I was always ambitious, and I don't think I wanted to be the CEO or the leader, but I wanted to grow, and just kept seeking higher roles and wanting to direct and be in charge. But I had a job that I absolutely loved, and I was 29, and I was the manager. And I thought I probably would have stayed there for the rest of my life. And because I had just gotten married. And then I was, of course, ready for the next step to start, my family, which unfortunately did not happen very quickly. So honestly, that was the inner urge for me to be like, okay, I can't control this in my life. What else can I control? And so I started looking, and I took the next step to become an HR director at the time. And so it was a huge step out of my comfort zone, but I leaped for it and I became the director, which was a huge learning experience for me. But I
Did that
pushed
surprise you that you were now the director? Was that kind of surprising to you?
it did. At the time, I had an incredible mentor and director, and I wanted to be just like her. So I really appreciated her leading the way, and then I had enough confidence at that point. And so I'm glad that I had the nerve to go apply for the job, and I loved it. But that is what kind of took me out of my comfort zone. So I became the director. But then, funny, Monica, because almost 3 years later is when I finally did have a baby. That at that point my life flipped upside again, and I had the confidence in myself to leave a company job of a comfort salary to start my own business. And which was terrifying, as you have a business owner, it's terrifying to do strike on out on your own, but I did, and I joined a women's business group, and that's how I fell into really advocating for women's issues and women in leadership, and just finding support for women and my passion and my purpose. And then honestly, that is what led me to Loyola and helping to create the Women's Leadership Academy, which now is going into our 5th year. And I have been at Loyola for 5 years. And I even transitioned and left my company basically to run this program full time and be a part of it because I love it so much. So
Yes, and
that's
it
my
has
journey.
grown. That's your journey, and you told it very succinctly. I know it's a very long journey, and thank you for sharing that. So, for those who may be struggling with what does the word really mean, or how has the word leadership evolved, what do we talking about? And is it very distinct camps of those who lead and those who follow?
I don't think it's distinct. I think that women, and especially this is why I work in this arena, we have not had the role models to look up to in leadership. And also women that have children, it's viewed. I mean, honestly, my story was I wasn't supported when I went back as a mother. So I think so many women have that experience. So we're having to change and evolve what today's leaders look like. So the whole can you have it all, which I think people want to be a leader and to have a career, but they also want to be present and active in their lives at home, and they want to have that work-life balance. And especially with the pandemic, the ability to work from home, the ability to really have an integration of your life, which I don't think it should be so separate. I mean, we are, you are working, but you also are living. And so how do we, integrate those and lead a balanced life and also be able to live your life?
Oh, that's amazing. That's very, very powerful. Because again, especially with the pandemic, workers or people who were just had that low kind of simmering, I'm not totally happy, I'm not totally upset. But then when the pandemic happened, they said it's going to be now or never. So, and they're speaking clearly about what they want.
Too.
What do they want from leaders? Whether you are in a team, whether you are an employee, whether you're in an organization, what do they want?
What do they want? Great question. I think that engaged employees and engaged, connected employees, which I love the word connection. We are feeling like you're a part of your company, and whether you are working remote or you are only in your office twice a week, you can be connected and engaged in um, your company, but also supported. I mean, I think that the best employees, you can have the best idea taking a shower, right? In the morning, or, dropping kids off, and feeling supported and feeling empowered and feeling that you are truly valued as a whole person. That, you can take time for yourself or take time for your family, but you also can bring your best self to the job as well.
Yeah, that's so amazing, and people are being clear, and I think it's so important for those leaders to hear what's happening and to talk about that integration as well. So, how do you develop your skills or your mindset, or even if you want to go to another level or start your own business or take on more responsibility on in your current position? How do you begin to do that?
Well, I think it starts with clarity of yourself first. And so leveraging, I love the word leverage, but leveraging your strengths. So if you are not clear on what brings you joy, what you're good at, you can start with a personality assessment. My first ever personality assessment was Myers-Briggs, which is one of the oldest personality profiles that we have. And it explained how my brain works. And I actually learned it when I was 24, which brought me back to grad school. And I had all these epiphanies, right? And even in women's leadership, we had a woman last week present, and she is 55 years old. And she stood up and presented, and she said, I had no clue who I was. And now I do. And so all of these things of understanding, like, oh, wow, this is why I like to work alone. This is why I like to be in a room with other people. Oh, my brain works very logically, or, creatively, and just understanding, first of all, what brings you joy, because research shows that when you work with something that you are naturally good at, you're going to be better at your job. You are going to have higher success. You're going to be able to get promoted because you love what you're doing. And it shows. It's contagious. It shows. So I think understanding you as a person and your leader, and also your emotional intelligence, really understanding your EQ, your hot buttons, and then what do you need to be connected in your company? Do you need a lot of support? Do you need a lot of structure? Do you need freedom? Do you need flexibility? Those are things that you need to start with. But it's the whole, what was the Jerry Maguire, help me help you. And
Yes.
you've got to help yourself first, and you've got to
Right.
figure out like your vision and your goals and kind of where you're wanting to have that roadmap first. And then when you know it, it's amazing, because I believe in the law of attraction, and you start attracting the right people, and you just, it starts, doors start opening, but you have to believe it first and you have to know it. And then now today, as you've seen, people just want more. It's not status quo anymore. We understand that there's opportunities out there, and if you're not being appreciated, or you're not, there's you don't have to settle anymore. And I think that that's why especially women are just pushing those boundaries of saying, this is what I want, and this is what I can have. So
Mm. And my observation too, Amy, is that if we let go of what it's called and get into the joy of it, whether it's called lawyer, whether it's called teacher, something maybe you just get a little kind of stuck on that, as opposed to saying, if my skill set and my joy is this, what's
mhm,
a good fit in
right.
a different arena, perhaps that it would be a good match and a good alignment for me.
For sure, for sure.
Yes. Well, we are almost out of time, but I wanted to spend some time talking about the Loyola University's Women Leadership Academy. Love the name Academy.
Thank you.
And the next cohort is coming up. So tell us about who this is a good fit for.
Well, yes, of course. And I appreciate you serving as a mentor this year. So thank you so much for being a part of WLA.
Yeah. Shout
But
out to Ty. Yeah.
she's amazing.
Yeah.
But and talk about a woman that knows exactly what she wants and where she's going on her mission. But Loyola Women's Leadership Academy, we are recruiting for our 5th cohort, which is incredible. We are looking for 45 women in the community that are looking to elevate themselves, empower each other, and just be connected in this space with some of the brightest, most talented, dynamic women in the region. So it is a 11-month long program. We meet once a month on campus on Loyola, and it is a regional leadership program designed for women. But of course, anybody interested in the program or allyship can apply. And I can't say enough amazing, incredible things about the program. I've seen the transformation happen firsthand. It is a joy and an honor to get to run the program and be able to connect the women in the space. So yeah.
Yeah. So what do we have to do to those are interested in applying or finding out if this is something they really want to do, have the bandwidth in which to do it at this point?
I love bandwidth, because it is it's accurate. I mean, sometimes you're like, yes, I want this opportunity, but is it the right time or space? So it's got to be the right space. You have to be at this point where you're like, yes, this is the opportunity that I want. It is the right time for me. You can go and apply on our website, www.wla.loyno.edu. And you can find out, you can reach out to me if you have any questions. There's countless testimonials of positive transformations, but the program is for somebody that maybe they want to take that next step, or they have that urge or that calling, and they're like, okay, I just want to be surrounded by incredible women, or I want to grow my network, or I just need that extra something. So if you're looking for something, that next step, it is, thank you. It can be women's leadership, but it is a commitment. You do have to come, and you have to be ready and open and willing to do the work. And that involves self-awareness and reflection and all of that comes along with growth.
Yes. Well, I remember the first time I met you, Amy Landry, and it was such a joy, and it continues to be. You're doing amazing work, but you're also helping us to mirror and model what that can be. So you are indeed a powerhouse woman.
I appreciate you, and so are you.
Oh, thank you so much. Hold on just a second. And I want to thank all of you for joining us today on the show. If you have been shying away from being the leader or developing your leadership role and muscle, perhaps this is the time to really explore that as well and get out of that comfort zone. Until next time, we'll see you on the Powerhouse Woman Show.